to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency, and we are located on the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is the first day officially of summer. It's the 21st of June 2018, and your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy,
and we will be reading the news for today's edition of the Fayetteville Observer.
We're going to begin today with your weather from Fayetteville Observer. Today is Thursday, June 21st, 2018, the very first day of summer. And today we're going to have a high of 95, thunderstorms in spots this afternoon, so be careful if you're cutting your grass. Tonight it's going to drop only down to 73, mostly cloudy and humid. Tomorrow, Friday, we'll have a high of 95. Again, a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, a low of 74. Moving to Saturday, we have a high of 97, a low of 76. It will be partly sunny and warm. Moving to Sunday, we're going to have a high of 99, a low of 77, partly sunny, hot, a PM thunderstorm. Monday, a high of 96, low of 71, a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon on Monday. Moving to Tuesday, we have a high of 88, a low of 66, some sun, strong thunderstorms are possible. Moving to Wednesday, we have a high of 90, low of 69. It's getting a little cooler. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. How about the sun and moon? The sunrise today was at 6:02 a.m. and the sunset tonight will be at 8:33 p.m. The moon will rise today at 3:31 p.m. and set today at 2:35 a.m. Sunrise tomorrow, Friday, will be at 6:02 a.m. with the sunset on Friday at 8:33 p.m. We have a full moon, June 28th, and a last moon, July 6th. We have a new moon, July 12th, and the first moon will appear on July 19th. There is your weather for today, Thursday, June 21st, 2018.
Here we have some daybreak information. It's the need-to-know type of information. The first one is Community Conversations. The Fayetteville-Cumberland Human Relations Commission, in collaboration with the Community Conversations Coalition, will host the session, Race, the Power on an Illusion, the House We Live In, as part of the 2018 Community Conversation Series today. The program is scheduled for 6 p.m. at the Headquarters Library, 300 Maiden Lane. The program will include a facilitated discussion following the viewing of The House We Live In. For more information, call 433, well, that's 910-433-1696. The event is free and open to the public. Then, the number 2 event that you need to know is the Vegan Fest. Yes, that's right. Fayetteville's first vegan festival is scheduled for Saturday, this Saturday, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Anderson and Old Streets. There will be vendors, food trucks, entertainment, raffles, and other activities. If you want some more information about this event, call 910-483-8406. That's 910-483-8406. The number 3 thing that you need to know is the Fayetteville Pride Fest. Yes, that's right. The festival is planned for 6 to 9 p.m. at Cross Creek Linear Park. The event is part of the June Community Fourth Friday, there will be entertainment, community resources, and of course, food and drink. And the last thing you want to look at is your number 4 piece of information on the Daybreak Need to Know is the flag exhibit. Yes, that's right. The Airborne and Special Operations Museum aims to reintroduce the public to the American flag. Yes, the American flag. A new exhibit, You Are a Grand Old Flag, is on display at the downtown Fayetteville Museum through July 8th. The exhibit explores the flag's history in the context of the museum's collection from World War II through the global war on terrorism. It features flags from the collections of the 82nd Airborne Division War Museum, the National Museum of the Army Reserve, and the Star-Spangled Banner Flag House and Museum. There will also be a little tiny fragment of the original Star-Spangled Banner on display. It's amazing. That was from the Revolutionary War, wasn't it, Nancy?
It was.
That original banner is inspired Francis Scott Key to write the poem that became our national anthem. And that, my friends, is Daybreak Need to Know news for today on the first day of summer.
All right, have you been harmed by the faulty airbags in place? Well, Livewire and the server staff is trying to answer your question. Question: I was one of the very many who received the recent letter regarding the long overdue airbag replacement. I have a 2009 Ford Edge and have been waiting patiently for replacement of the airbag. My question is, if the airbag deploys and someone is injured, can Ford or the makers of the airbag be sued? Waiting patiently for over a year for parts is beyond a reasonable wait time. I understand Ford is offering to pay for a rental under certain conditions, but one cannot expect owners to use a vehicle for just personal transportation for 1 or 2 years. From D.S. Monroe. Answer: your car is one of 125 million worldwide, including more than 60 million in the United States that are subject to the recall, the Reuters news service said. It affects cars manufactured over a 13-year period by 19 automakers. According to a summary of the situation by Consumer Reports magazine, it is going to take years to get all the potentially dangerous airbags replaced. The airbags have a design flaw that could cause them during a crash to deploy with too much energy, explosive force, Consumer Reports said. And when that happens, the airbags can hurl metal shrapnel into a person's face and neck.
Wow.
Reuters said the detective airbags killed 22 people, 20 in Hondas and 2 in Ford pickups. So can someone sue for death or injury caused by one of the airbags? That's tricky to specify because Dakota, the company that made those airbags, is in bankruptcy. Personal injury lawyer Kevin Dean of the Motley Rice law firm has handled airbag litigation against Dakota. He wrote in March that the bankruptcy judge approved a bankruptcy plan for Dakota that includes a trust fund for people harmed by the faulty airbags. It is estimated that this trust fund will have $90 million to $137 million to draw on to compensate victims. Information about the Takata Individual Restitution Fund is maintained at takataspecialmaster.com. Paul Wolverton wrote this article. Now, Livewire seeks to answer your questions of general interest and consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when names are given. You can contact Livewire at livewire@fayobserver.com, or you may call them at 486-3516. You believe that?
Yeah, Reuters, the news agency, is pretty on top of things. And a lot of people like to read the news from Reuters. And here we have an applause. Christy Brantley, a senior biblical counseling major from Benson, North Carolina, was named to the president's list for the spring 2018 semester at Bob Jones University in Greenville, South Carolina. And Jacob Alexander DeLone of Fayetteville, North Carolina, earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering from the College of Engineering at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. And today in history, today is Thursday, the 21st of June, 2018, and there are only 172 days left in this year. There are this is the 172nd day of 2018, and there are 193 days left in this year. Summer begins, and it's already passed, at 6:07 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. Today's highlight: on the 21st of June in 1788, the United States Constitution went into effect as New Hampshire became the 9th state to ratify that new Constitution. On today's date in history, in 1834, Cyrus Hall McCormick received a patent for his reaping machine. On today's date in 1932, heavyweight Max Schmeling lost a title fight rematch in New York by decision to Jack Sharkey, prompting Schmeling's manager, Joe Jacobs, to exclaim, "We was robbed." Now, Nancy, I have a quick question for you right now. Do you know who Max Schmeling is?
No.
Max Schmeling, if my memory serves me correctly, is Jethro Bodine's real father in life. And everyone remembers Jethro Bodine from the Beverly Hillbillies. And Jethro Bodine's real name is Max Baer. On today's date in 1942, German forces led by General Loberst, Colonel General Erwin Rommel, captured the Libyan city of Tobruk during World War II. An Imperial Japanese submarine fired shells at Fort Stevens on the Oregon coast that caused little damage or none. And lastly, on today's date in 1943, Army Nurse Lieutenant Edith Greenwood became the first woman to receive the Soldier's Medal for showing heroism during a fire at a military hospital in Yuma, Arizona. Today's birthdays: yes, composer Lalo Schifrin. Lalo is 86 years old today. Actor Bernie Kopell is 85. Actress Marietta Hartley is 78. Comedian Joe Flaherty is 77. Rock singer musician Ray Davies of the Kinks is 74. Actress Meredith Baxter is 71. Rock musician Niles Lofgren is 67. Cartoonist Berkey Breed is 61. Country singer Kathy Mattea is 59. Actor Mark Kopech is 56. Actor Doug Savant is 54. Actress Carrie Preston is 51. Rapper, producer Pete Rock is 48. Country singer Allison Moorer is 46. Actress Juliette Lewis is 45. And finally, wrapping it all up, is actor Chris Pratt. Why, he's just 39 years old today.
All right, and we're moving to Leonard Pitts Jr. with the very hot topic today. Immigrant children are real children, says Leonard. Are you ready? Illegals have faces. This is what Republicans learned to their chagrin amid mounting international outrage over the policy of separating immigrant children from their families at our southern border. For years, the party has pretended otherwise. It has denied undocumented immigrants their personhood, casting them instead as an abstract threat. Rape, gangs, murder against anyone who makes the mistake of compassion. Now reality is blasting through that xenophobic fiction like a comet through a sandcastle. The president lies about whose fault the policy was because he has no honor. Secretary of Homeland Security defended it because she has no shame. The Attorney General used scripture to justify it because he has no soul. But none of it is a match for the agonized cries and the anguished faces of little kids being torn from their families by us. The sounds and sights are so painful, even Republicans turned away. A hot mess, said Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. Tragedy, said Senator Susan Collins of Maine. A horrendous situation, said Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. But the president dug in. The United States will not be a migrant camp, and it will not be a refugee holding facility, said the child abuser-in-chief Monday. In defending this evil, he is, of course, following longtime GOP orthodoxy. Back in 2006, President George W. Bush proposed an imperfect but pragmatic immigration reform that would have hardened the border, offered a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants already here, and created a guest worker program and a merit-based system for future immigrants. I know this is an emotional debate, he said, but one thing we cannot lose sight of is that we're talking about human beings, decent human beings that need to be treated with respect. But this is precisely what this party wants you to lose sight of. It killed the bill in essence because it was insufficiently cruel. Cruelty is easy once you deny people their personhood. You'd think human beings would understand that by now. For some reason, the lesson never seems to take. Indeed, even before this crisis, we saw news stories of how some of those who voted for this administration were stunned to find its heavy-handed immigration tactics victimizing people they knew. Anybody would like to have him as a neighbor, said police chief in Washington State when ICE arrested his friend Mario. I knew he was Mexican, but he's been here so long he's just one of us, said an Illinois woman when Carlos was taken. A man in Indiana said he voted for the president because he said he was going to get rid of the bad hombres. Roberto was a good hombre. There Roberto was under arrest, awaiting deportation. Like too many Americans, these people fell for the great Republican lie, its fable of the faceless other. They found out too late that the other lives next door. Makes you want to holler. What else do they expect? But when you reduce human beings to the sum of your fears, when you make them less than real, when they use them as a repository for your prejudices and receptacles for your cruelties, it becomes easy to forget that people are just, well, people. Now, the lie is imploding. The Attorney General biovates, the DH Secretary parades her moral implicity, and the President deflects and denies. Yet none of it is enough to dissuade the nation from something it can see with its own shocked eyes. Immigrant children look just like real children. They even sound like them when they cry. Leonard Pitts is a columnist for the Miami Herald, 1 Herald Plaza, Miami, Florida, 33132. And you can contact him at lpitts@miamiherald.com.
And with your public safety, in Cumberland County, there were several arrests made. Lakeisha Danielle Bell, age 24, who is homeless, was charged Wednesday with financial card theft and obtaining property by false pretense. Lakeisha Danielle Bell's bail was set at $1,000. Stephen Seegers Jr., age 32, of the 1600 block of Newark Avenue, was charged Wednesday with larceny. He was charged with financial card theft, possessing stolen property, and misdemeanor credit card fraud. Stephen Seegers' bail was set at $5,000. Lydell Christopher Utley, age 32, of the 1400 block of Lottie Street in Spring Lake, was charged Wednesday with breaking and entering a motor vehicle. His bail was set at $10,000. Hallie LaRae Funsets, age 24, of the 2100 block of Spokane Road, was charged Tuesday with 2 counts of possession of firearm by a felon and 1 count each of possession of a controlled substance and misdemeanor maintaining a drug dwelling and or a vehicle. Hallie LaRae Funset's bail was set at $33,000. And there were 2 robberies to report. On Dunn Road, Gordon James Hebert reported at 11:18 p.m. on Tuesday that he was robbed of money and his shoes on the 100 block of Dunn Road near Person Street. And a break-in was reported at Hope Mills on School Road. It was reported at 8:04 a.m. Monday morning that an electrical range was taken from that School Road location. And this wraps up your public safety for today, the 21st of June, 2018, the first day of summer.
Took his shoes too, huh?
Took his shoes, yes.
That's amazing.
It is. Gordon James Hebert is shoeless now. He's probably going to have to start wearing flip-flops or go barefoot.
Letter to the Observer. It's by Ann Flaherty from Sanford. To be silent is to be complicit. Trump's economic advisor, making the rounds of Sunday morning news, attacking Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, calling Trudeau a liar and a backstabber. It's yet another example of the kindergarten class that now resides in the White House. I am more ashamed every day of the direction the United States is trending. These nonsensical attacks of our allies while insisting on Russia's inclusion is beyond absurd. What a shame that the rest of the free world no longer trusts the United States of America. Where Representative George Holding and Senator Tom Tillis and Richard Burr continue to stand by and do nothing to stop the regime that now runs America, we have no choice but to vote them out. Where they have done nothing to stop the human rights violators in this administration from torturing children, we have no choice but to vote them out. Where they will not stand up for all Americans and follow their oath to defend the Constitution, we have no choice but to vote them out. Tillis, Burr, and Holding must re-examine their silent strand and put country before their party. They are a large part of the shame America is experiencing right now. They must speak out, do something, make North Carolinians proud. To be silent is to be complicit. Ann Flaherty from Sanford.
And here are some little briefs in the news. A Parkland man faces statutory rape charges. A Parkton man is accused of sexually assaulting a child under the age of 13, according to an arrest warrant in the Cumberland County Magistrate's Office. Robert James Morphus, age 17, of the 1700 block of West Parkton, Toby Morey Road, was charged Wednesday with first-degree statutory rape. The alleged assault happened on the 13th of June, 2018. The 13-year-old victim woke up to find Morphus on top of her, the warrant said, and Robert J. Morphus's bail was set at $50,000. DSS is to open its lobby on heat advisory days. The Cumberland County Department of Social Services will open an auxiliary lobby to the public on days when the heat index reaches 100 degrees and a heat advisory is issued and in effect. County officials said they are opening the lobby to provide relief for residents who have no other way to escape the high summer temperatures. The Department of Social Services building is located at 1225 Ramsey Street. The lobby areas will be open from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. The department also is seeking donations of box fans to distribute to eligible residents through the fan giveaway program. The Department of Social Services is seeking donations of new fans from civic organizations, from churches, from businesses, and from individuals. The fans may be dropped off at the Department of Social Services building between 7:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. And remember that the Department of Social Security building is located at 1225 on Ramsey Street. To be eligible for the fan giveaway program, residents must have an income that falls below 200% of the poverty level and have a family member in the home under the age of 2 or over the age of 60 or with a heat-sensitive medical condition. For more information about this donating fan program, call 910-677-2536. That number again is 910-677-2536. And the public has been invited to discuss the issue of downtown parking. That's right. Fayetteville's downtown denizens and patrons are invited to talk about parking concerns with the staff from the city on Friday morning and Friday evening. It is part of a parking lot study that began in May of this year and is to be finished by the end of this year. People can stop by a table in front of the Cool Spring Downtown District located at 222 Hay Street to offer their opinions or on parking conditions. That is, they can offer their opinions on parking conditions now and how the city should address the parking problem in the future. This table will be operated from 9 in the morning to 11 a.m. and again from 6 in the evening to 8 p.m. during the downtown Fourth Friday activities. So it's, ladies and gentlemen, it's only one day. That's the fourth Friday of this month. The table is going to be open from 9 to 11 a.m. and again from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The public also is invited to participate in an electronic survey about downtown Fayetteville parking. It is available here on this particular link, surveymonkey.com/r/parking_Fayetteville. And if you want to participate in an electronic survey, that is a link to go to. This is it again. It is surveymonkey.com/r/parking_Fayetteville. Fayetteville, and that should help you help our city council members figure out what they're going to do about parking when that new baseball stadium is open. Now, if you would like to talk about this in brief, you can call Paul Wolverton. And this concludes your in brief pieces of news for today. The time now is 10:31 in the morning, and it is time for me to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency, and we broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations, and we request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any comments about today's reading so far, or questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today on this first day of summer are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
Now, Clark, have you ever gone to a gas station and gone inside to get a drink and leave your car running with your keys in the ignition?
I have never done that.
It's not a good thing to do.
No, it's a terrible thing. Who in the world would do that?
Well, this man did.
You have a little article about it?
Beth Hudson, digital editor, writes, "Help! Sought to ID car theft suspect." We have a picture here of the person who did this crime. It's a white man. Looks like he has on some tan shorts and a black top with a little design in the middle.
Does he have a full head of hair?
He is kind of looks like he's beginning to bald.
Balding type of guy.
Tan on the top. Detectives with the Fayetteville Police Department are asking for help identifying a man in the theft of a car. Where? At the Riley Road gas station. Officers responded shortly after 9 p.m. June 8th to a report of a stolen motor vehicle at the Kangaroo gas station at 736 South Riley Road. The victim left a black 2016 Toyota Camry, license tag TPV-8590, unsecured with keys in the ignition and the motor running while going inside the store, according to a news release. While the victim was in the store, a man got into his car and stole it, the relief said. So he came back to get in his car and it was gone.
You're kidding me.
Detectives obtained surveillance photos from the gas station and are asking the public for help in identifying the man.
Where was this gas station again?
South Riley Road. This thief is in his mid to late 20s, has dark hair, wearing a black shirt and tan shorts. Detectives have not recovered the car still. Anyone with information about the theft or the identity of the man is asked to call Detective B. Chandler at 824-9241 or call Crime Stoppers at 483-TIPS, which is 8477. Digital editor Beth Hudson can be reached at bhudson@fayobserver.com, or you may call her at 486, aren't there?
Well, I've seen gas stations where people are loitering around in the front, and that's just kind of not really paying attention to your operational environment. You must have situational awareness when you pull up to one of these fast stops, these quick stops or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
7-Elevens, U-Totems, you name it. Always lock your car. Take your keys and lock the car. And now the car is missing.
Yep, they can't go home.
They can't go. They got to take a cab, Uber or Lyft. But anyway, here's a warrant for an ex-jailer that shared fighting tips. A former jailer in the Cumberland County Detention Center is accused of giving an inmate tips over the phone on how to fight with other prisoners that are being detained, according to arrest warrant in the Cumberland County Magistrate's office. Demorion Dion Bill Johnson, age 24, of the 8400 block of Cartman Drive in Fayetteville, was charged Wednesday with conveying messages or trading with convicts or other prisoners with a felony offense. Demorion Dion Bill Johnson had worked in the jail since 2016 and left April 26, said Lieutenant Sean Swain, a sheriff's office spokesman. On the 29th of May, Johnson was heard on a recorded phone call from the detention center that he was talking with an inmate, arrest document said. Demorion Dion Bill Johnson is heard explaining to this inmate that he did not need to fight the guys he was having trouble with, but he needed to wait until lunchtime, pop his cell door, and then beat the other inmate with his tray, the document said, his lunch tray that is, document said. Demorion Dion Bill Johnson apparently made other calls in which he told the same inmate to make sure he fights in the shower. As a former jailer, the document said, Johnson knew where the video cameras in the detention center are located. The shower is one of the places in the detention center without camera coverage, the document said. Demorion Dion Bill Johnson, former jailer, admitted to investigators that he gave the information to the inmate and said he was just trying to help Davis out since he considers him a family member. The bail for Demorion Dion Bill Johnson, a former jailer in the Cumberland County Detention Center, his bail was set at $20,000. Now, if you have questions about this article about an ex-jailer that shared his fighting tips, you may call Nancy McCleary at 910-486-3568.
Hey, this has been an ongoing story, and I'm very interested in what's happening to the people that live in the Garden Grove. And this is in Spring Lake. This is a trailer park. This park is Garden Grove Mobile Home Park off West Manchester Road. Now, as you know, they cut off the water for these people living there. The park's water system has sprung leaks, and the absentee park owners were negligent paying their water bill that reached roughly $60,000. So on May 11th, the town of Spring Lake disconnected the water to the 64-year-old mobile home park. Since then, the residents have relied on bottled water donated by the churches and other groups, and used portable toilets and showers in the homes of friends and relatives. In the United States of America, too. On June 14th, Cumberland County notified the park's homeowners and residents that they will have to leave by July 1st if the park owners have not repaired a failing septic system. I'm ready to fight this all the way, 36-year-old resident Annika Glover said. Late Wednesday afternoon, Glover was with about a dozen residents. They met on site with Cumberland County officials and a lawyer with Legal Aid of North Carolina to discuss assistance available. We didn't see this coming, said 57-year-old Daryl Thomas, Park resident for a couple of years. They're breaking up this village, and we are a village. We're bonded, and they're breaking us up. Park lies just outside the Spring Lake city limits, near the Fort Bragg Manchester Gate. We're just trying to provide information on their options and available assistance, said Dee Taylor, the interim director of Cumberland County Community Development. We're passing information around. So the residents were informed that a Housing and Resource Fair is scheduled for 10 to 2 on July 3rd at Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church. And anyone interested in moving their mobile homes can receive details on the process. Everybody owns their own trailer, Thomas said. So, Garden Grove Park was originally known as Frank's Mobile Home Park. It was founded in 1954. So keep your eyes open and your ears, and let's see what happens to this story.
I tell you what, I would really, if I lived in that mobile home park, I just don't know what I'd do. I would hate to have to depend on using a porta potty all the time.
And water by the church.
Well, and you know, I've been in those porta potties when it's 100 degrees out.
Terrible.
And I'm going to tell you what, buddy.
It's awful.
It is like walking into an oven. And then to ask somebody to use their shower.
It's awful.
It's terrible. And this is the United States of America
exactly
we're talking
right.
about. This is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, gee. But guess what? Gilmore says that more than 700 jobs are at risk. The company that makes a potentially cancer-causing compound says demands sought by state regulators could force it to shut down its Bladen County Chemours plant. Chemours submitted a response on Wednesday to a status report that the State Department of Environmental Quality filed in Bladen County Superior Court on the 11th of June this year. The state report included a proposed court order that would require the company to reduce the amount of Gen X being released into the air and deal with how the compound has contaminated the area around the Chemours plant. A shutdown would jeopardize the jobs of more than 700 people who work at the Chemours plant. It would cost Chemours hundreds of millions of dollars and lead to shortages of products used by the military, by the medical professions, by automobile industry, aerospace, and consumer electronics industries, according to the filing. Gen X, which is made at the Chemours Fayetteville Works plant, is a byproduct of other processes. There is processes there. This is used to make non-stick cookware and other products. The compound's effect on humans is not known. It has been linked to several forms of cancer in animal studies. That's Gen X. The filing by Chemours, which includes 7 exhibits, said the state report includes an inaccurate version of the current status and the historical facts that misinforms the court and the public about what is going on now and what has happened in the past. The company's document said that it is in the process of a $100 million investment at the plant just off North Carolina Highway 87 that will satisfy almost all of what the state says it might seek with the proposed court order. Chemours is taking that action even though there is no evidence that its operations have adversely impacted anyone's health, the document said. Chemours takes issue with the state's request in the proposed order that the company reduce Gen X air emissions by 97% by August. The company has committed to a 72% reduction by October 2018 and is willing to commit to an 82% reduction by that time, according to the court document. Chemours says it will not know if it can further reduce emissions until it can test results of the upgrade. The Chemours plant is willing to commit to at least 99% reduction by the end of the year 2019. In the face of this, the state's 97% interim demand is essentially a demand that Chemours either do what it is not technologically possible at this point or shut the Fayetteville Works facility down. Chemours also disputes the state's claim that the Department of Environmental Quality was not aware of Gen X discharges until June of 2017. The company also said it believes the amount of Gen X that the state has set as its health goal for the compound should be much higher. Bridget Munger, a State Department Environmental Quality spokeswoman, issued a written two-sentence response to the filing. And here it is. Chemours acknowledges they can reduce their Gen X emissions by 99% by installing new technology. As reflected in our proposed order, the Department of Environmental Quality continues to believe that Chemours should implement accelerated measures to reduce emissions while the technology is being put in place. That's what Bridget Munger, a State Department of Environmental Quality, said. Now, if you have more questions about this particular article about Chemours, you may call Steve Devane at this number, 910-486-3572.
Wow. All right. Get a load of this. Canada, our northern neighbor, is going to legalize marijuana effective October 17th. Toronto, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Wednesday marijuana will be legal nationwide on October 17th. Trudeau said in Parliament that the government is committed to better protecting Canada's youth and hopes to take money away from organized crime. The Senate gave final passage to Trudeau's bill to legalize cannabis on Tuesday. The country will become the second in the world to make pot legal nationwide. The legislation is transformative, said Justin Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould, adding it, quote, marks a wholesale shift in how our country approaches cannabis, leaving behind a failed model of prohibition, unquote. The federal government had said provincial and territorial governments will need 8 to 12 weeks following Senate passage and royal assent to prepare for retail sales. Trudeau's spokeswoman Eleanor Contenaro said officials listened to the provinces that asked for more time to be able to prepare and implement the law. Quote, the law still remains the law, unquote. Wilson-Raybould said, quote, I urge all Canadians to continue to follow the existing law until the Cannabis Act comes into force, unquote. Canada is following the lead of Uruguay in allowing a nationwide legal marijuana market. Although each Canadian province is working up its own rules for pot, the federal government and the provinces also still need to publish regulations that will govern the cannabis trade. Many questions remain unanswered, including, well, how will the police test motorists suspected of driving under the influence? What to do about those with prior marijuana convictions? And just how the rules governing home cultivation will work. Here you go.
It's a real mess these days, isn't it?
That's unbelievable.
It is, but you know, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, we have some states here in America that they have legalized marijuana. In some states, if you're caught with an ounce, you're in deep kimchi. You know, there should be one, in my opinion, there should be one standard all across the United States.
No, not just here and there.
Well, you know, I mean, that's why a lot of people are moving to Colorado and Oregon, because they have very lax laws about marijuana.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
But hey, here's an article that says, taking ownership of Gen X. You know, I just read that article about Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another little article about taking ownership of Gen X. Chemours, the company whose chemical Gen X has polluted hundreds of wells in Cumberland and Bladen counties, says it is willing to pay the steep costs of installing filters at people's homes. Well, that's good. The company also says it is evaluating whether to cover costs of connecting residents in the area to municipal water lines. Even better, Paul Kirsch, the president of Fluoro Products at Chemours, told a skeptical crowd last week in St. Paul's, North Carolina, that he and presumably his employer would own this Gen X issue. The willingness of Chemours to pay thousands of dollars for granular activated carbon filtration systems and perhaps many thousands more dollars to run water lines is a good start for owning their Gen X problem. State regulators say they do not consider the filters to be a long-term solution. The company says it believes the filters work. We will soon find out more complete results from pilot testing of several filters, and the state's Department of Environmental Quality has given. They have given Chemours until June 30th to develop a plan to provide a permanent water supply to contaminated homes. So that's what the Department of Environmental Quality is going to give Chemours. They've given them a deadline of the 30th of June, which is a few days away, 9 days away?
9 days.
To develop a permanent water supply plan to contaminated homes. We will hear again from Chemours officials who are expected to speak at a Greater Fayetteville Chamber breakfast this morning. So the breakfast is over, and now we'll probably read about the results tomorrow in the newspaper. We know there'll be lots more questions, and we hope lots more answers. And that's how Chemours says they're going to take ownership of the Gen X problem.
Right, now this is probably the main story, the highlight of today on June 21st, because Trump ends the family separations at the border. Bowing to pressure from anxious allies, President Donald Trump abruptly reversed himself Wednesday, as yesterday, signed an executive order halting his administration's policy of separating children from their parents when they are detained illegally crossing the U.S. border. It was a dramatic turnaround for Trump, who has been insisting wrongly that his administration had no choice but to separate families apprehended at the border because of federal law and a court decision. The order does not end the zero-tolerance policy that criminally prosecutes all adults caught crossing the border illegally, but it would keep families together while they are in custody, expedite their cases, and ask the Defense Department to help house them. It also doesn't change anything yet for the some 2,300 children taken from their families since the policy was put into place. The news in recent days has been dominated by searing images of children held in cages at border facilities, as well as audio recordings of young children crying for their parents. Images that have sparked fury, questions of morality and concern from Republicans about a negative impact on their races in November's midterm elections. Till Wednesday, the President, Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, and other officials had repeatedly argued the only way to end the practice was for Congress to pass new legislation, while the Democrats said Trump, he could do it with his signature alone. And that's just what he did. We're going to have strong, very strong borders, but we're going to keep the families together, said Trump, who added that he didn't like the sight or feeling of children separated from their parents. Under a previous class action settlement that set policies for the treatment and release of minors caught at the border, families can only be detained for 20 days. A senior Justice Department official said that hasn't changed. This is a stopgap measure, said Gene Hamilton, counsel to the Attorney General. Justice lawyers were planning to file a challenge to the agreement, known as the Flores Settlement, asking that a judge allow for the detention of families until criminal and removal proceedings are completed. So, Trump's order is likely to create a fresh start of problems and may well spark a new court fight. But as of yesterday, Trump ended the family separations, and there will be no more children separated from their families at the border.
That's good news.
That is good news. That's President Trump. I'm crazy about him. Well, I love him.
He's got a lot of problems he has to face.
Yeah.
He is faced with.
He sure does.
But I think he made the right decision. As a matter of fact, what we saw on television this morning was that his daughter, I think her name is what, Ivanka?
Ivanka, right.
Yeah, she said, "Thank you so much, POTUS." And a lot of people don't realize what POTUS is. That's the short version of President of the United States. What do you think about that?
I think he's great.
He is great. And, I've got to say that, he's trying to do his best. But sometimes it's hard to do, especially when you're in the public eye, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think being president, I certainly wouldn't want to be president. Would you?
No.
I mean, that is a big job, and but I did see something in the paper the other day that he has spent a lot of money, taxpayers' dollars, golfing. Yeah, a lot of people complained about our previous president golfing, but he's spending a lot of money golfing, and I don't think that's a good thing to be doing all that, if you know what I mean. But it's almost 11 o'clock, and I would like to remind everybody that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency, and we broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University. Our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations, and we request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
We are proud to serve you today.
We begin the second hour with the death notices. Following deaths have been reported. Please see upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Obsever for complete obituary information. Cumberland County, Teresa Faye Jenkins, age 55, of Fayetteville, Fayetteville Cremation Services. Gwen Johnson Avery, age 97, of Dunn, West and Dunn Funeral Home, Irwin. Cape Fear Region, Robert Noel Butch Smith, 65, of Dunn, Skinner and Smith Funeral Home. Robert D.J. Skull Davis, 65 of Southern Pines, Simon Funeral Home in Southern Pines. Richard Bunyard, age 77 of Laurenburg, Richard Bowles Funeral Service. Mary Baucom, age 83 of 7255 Smith St. Wade. That would be 7255 Smith Street in Wade, Dafford Funeral Home, Dunn. John Henry Cox, age 84 of 102 Mars Drive, Dunn, Dafford Funeral Home in Dunn. Barbara Fitch Miller, 77 of Sanford, Adcock Funeral Home and Crematory, Spring Lake. Eric Sandy Bryan, age 54 of Bladenboro, Bladen Gaskins. Moving to Cumberland County, David C. Brown Sr., Fayetteville. David C. Brown Sr., a strong Christian, dedicated family man and owner of the Midway Barber Shop, made his transition from this life on Monday, June 18th, 2018, after a long illness. This will be handled by the Sand Hills State Veterans Cemetery. Margie Elspass Luty, Fayetteville. Margie L. Passaluti, age 92 of Fayetteville, passed away peacefully on 6/2/2018. A memorial honoring her life will be held on June 23, 2018 at 3 p.m. at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witness, 5752 Fisher Road, Fayetteville. Retired Command Sergeant Major Homer Carroll Waybright from Fayetteville. Retired Command Sergeant Major Homer Carroll Waybright, age 91 of Fayetteville, passed away on Saturday, June 16, 2018. A memorial service will be held at 1 p.m. Saturday, June 23rd in Cumberland Memorial Gardens Chapel, and the services are entrusted to Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. William Clevin, W.C. Toman Sr. William Clevin, W.C. Toman Sr., age 80, of Fayetteville, passed away on Tuesday, June 19, 2018, at his home. Online condolences and services are entrusted to Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Crematory of Fayetteville. Retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Kimberly Faith Bullock, age 55 of Fayetteville, died Wednesday, June 13, 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 10 a.m. Wiseman Mortuary Chapel, with the burial at Sand Hill State Veterans Cemetery by Wiseman Mortuary.
And in the region and elsewhere, John Robert Jack Culbreth, age 79, died Monday, 11 June 2018, at Elizabeth House in Hendersonville of complications from Alzheimer's disease. John Robert Jack Culbreth was born on the 18th of December in 1938. He was the son of the late John Henry and Frida Fawcett Culbreth of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Jack was preceded in death by his brother John Henry Jr. and his daughter Winifred Lee, both of whom died in their infancy. A service in celebration of Jack's life will be at 11 a.m. Saturday, 23 June 2018 at St. James Episcopal Church in Black Mountain, North Carolina. In lieu of flowers, please make donations 2. St. James Episcopal Church, Playground Fund, Post Office Box 1087, Black Mountain, North Carolina 28711. Or Memory Care, located at 100 Far Horizons Lane in Asheville, North Carolina 28803. Or again at Care Partners Adult Day Services, located at 68 Sweeten Creek Road in Asheville, North Carolina 28803. Douglas Otto Grosskopf, age 84, passed away Monday, 18 June 2018. He was born on the 27th of May in 1934. Visitation with family and friends will be on Friday, 22 June 2018, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Cornerstone Funeral Home of Nashville, North Carolina. Funeral service will be on Saturday, 23 June 2018, at 2 p.m. in the chapel of Cornerstone Funeral Home. The burial will follow at Pine View Cemetery of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Cornerstone Funeral Home is honored to be caring for the Grosskopf family, and words of comfort may be shared at www.cornerstonefuneralhomeandcremations.com. Cornerstone Funeral Home, located at 1052 South 1st Street of Nashville, North Carolina 27856, has been entrusted with these funeral services. Mary Lee Adkins, age 67, of McCall, South Carolina, died Tuesday, 19 June 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 3 p.m. at the McCall Church of God. Visitation will be at the McCall Church of God on Thursday, that's today, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The burial will be at the Rogers Cemetery. The Richard Bowles Funeral Service, located in McCall, South Carolina, has been entrusted with those funeral services. And this concludes all of the obituaries for today's date, 21 June 2018, the first day of summer.
Let's see what Billy Graham says. Missionaries are needed now more than ever. This article is from the writings of the Reverend Billy Graham. And the question is, our church just approved its new budget, which includes a lot of support for missionaries. But are missionaries really needed today? Can't we reach the world more cheaply through things like the internet? Why don't we do this? From Mrs. V.H.J. Answer. Many organizations and ministries today are using the internet and social media to bring the message of Christ's love and hope to others, often reaching people in parts of the world they have no other access to the gospel. And you can check out our own efforts at billygraham.org. However, missionaries are still needed. In fact, they are needed today more than ever. For example, some countries are now open to the gospel that were closed only a few decades ago, and opportunities for evangelism and service in those parts of the world have grown. In addition, churches in those countries often need training and other skills that only missionaries can supply. Also, many parts of the world still have enormous medical, educational, and social needs. And the opportunities for Christian doctors, nurses, teachers, agriculturalists, and other skilled professionals have never been greater. Needless to say, these cannot be done through the internet. The Bible says, "For we are God's handiwork." created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. From the book of Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. Be grateful for the missionaries your church supports. Pray for them, support them financially, and encourage them through your letters and emails. They often work in difficult and lonely places, and they need to know others care. Urge the young people in your church to seek God's will for their lives, also including the possibility of some type of mission service. Jesus' command has never been withdrawn. Quote, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation," unquote. From the book of Mark, chapter 16, verse 15. And this is contributed by the Tribune Content Agency.
And now we have a word from Dear Abby. A man learns that he is not the first to propose marriage to a girl. Dear Abby, I met the love of my life 8 months ago. Everything about our relationship is absolutely perfect. We both love our families. We both love fine food. We both love games. And most importantly of all, we love each other. We met at an antique store and now have an extensive stamp collection together, wanting this joy to last forever. I proposed to her. I could not imagine a happier life for both of us until I discovered that she is already engaged.
Oh no!
Her mother informed me that she had accepted a proposal from a close friend of ours months ago. At first I was absolutely devastated. But yes, now I understand the situation. She felt obligated to accept this proposal, yet I know she will only find true happiness by marrying me. How do I go about bringing this up to my love of my life? I'm very non-confrontational and don't want her to feel awkward or uncomfortable. Should I tell her what I know or wait for her to come up and confess to me? Please help. Signed, in love but confused. Dear in love but confused. Something is definitely wrong with this picture. Sometimes confrontation is healthy. Do not waste another moment waiting for the love of your life to level with you. Tell her what her mother has told you and ask if it is true. If it is, she needs to explain that entire situation to you. Although you may be ready to settle down and get married, she may not be emotionally mature enough to marry either one of you. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Abby, today, 21 June, the first day of summer, is the annual ASK Day, which means Asking Saves Kids. Children are out of school and visiting other people's homes, and this is a moment to remind parents to ask if there are guns in the homes your children are visiting. Will you help us get this word out to all across the nation of America? Prevention saves lives, and this campaign surely will save lives of children out of school this summer. Signed, Bettina Lanya, Assistant Director of Partnerships, Brady Campaign. Dear Bettina Lanya, Assistant Director of Partnerships, Brady Campaign, I am pleased to spread your word. Readers, the ASK or Ask campaign is a collaboration between the Brady Center to Prevent gun violence and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Its goal is to ensure kids' safety by encouraging parents to ask if there is an unlocked gun in the homes where their children are playing. For more information, I encourage you to visit this website, AskingSaveKids.org. That's, again, AskingSavesKids.org. There, on this website, you will find various resources, including tips for parents and others on how to bring up the sometimes awkward subject of safe gun weapon storage. There are also brochures and flyers in English and, of course, Spanish, and suggestions about how to work with groups in your community to bring public awareness to the Ask program. And finally, Dear Abby, my investment advisor got married 4 months ago. He and his wife have invited me to a celebration of their marriage. Now, this is not a formal affair, but it is an evening barbecue at their condo rooftop. Should I bring a gift? And if so, what would be appropriate for an investment advisor? Signed, Betty in Florida. Dear Betty in Florida, a token gift would be thoughtful. Something they could use at one time or another might be a nice picture frame for their home. And be sure to include a thoughtful note with it, wishing them a lifetime of happiness together. Now, readers, you can write Dear Abby at dearabby.com, or you could send her a letter by addressing it to Dear Abby, Post Office Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069.
All right, now it is horoscope time. Bring out the trumpets by Stella Wilder. Are you born today? Well, you enjoy nothing so much as a big project, unless it is being in charge of that same project. For you, there is nothing, I say nothing, like calling the shots. Are you always going to get away with such behavior? Not at all. Cancer, June 21st through July 22nd. Cancer, you want quality time with someone who should be closer to you than he or she is, but job issues keep getting in the way. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd. You mustn't try to tackle too much at once today, Leo. If you've lost perspective, it will be difficult to do what is right until a friend fills you in. And before I go on, as of today, Cancer is at the top of lists. Virgo, August 23rd to September 22nd. Virgie, you may have lost something valuable, but it is not beyond retrieval. You may have to change your plans until this situation is rectified. Libra, September 23rd through October 22nd. Certain things, Libra, are almost sure to take longer today than usual. But that's nothing to get upset about. Keep your emotions in check at this time. Scorpio, October 23rd through November 21st. Scorpio, you have a stake in something that can yield very exciting returns. But take care that you don't overstep your boundaries right now. Sagittarius, November 22nd through December 21st. Saggy, others may be taking things for granted at this time, but not you. Indeed, you know just what to say to those most precious to you. Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th. Cappy, you're making assumptions that may cause problems between you and an old friend. Take a step back and prevent a rift. Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. You're waiting for some good news to come your way today. but in fact it's you who may have good news to share with others by the day's end. And Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. Your energy is running high, but it's not because of something you can easily control. Your moods may prove inconsistent today. Aries, March 21st through April 19th. You and a new friend, Aries, have much in common, but it's the things that are different between you that prove to be most fascinating right now. And Taurus, April 20th through May 20th. Taurus, you may not have a complete grasp of the time frame that you are facing right now. You're going to have to work much faster than usual. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. Gemini, you've been going through a difficult period, but today, those who have been standing in your way are likely to clear out. That is our horoscope for today by Wiley.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It is tongue twister time.
Uh-oh.
Brought to you by the People's Pharmacy. From Joe and Teresa Graydon. Will vitamin D pills prevent cancer is the question. Question. My dermatologist says that I should use sunscreen every time I step outside, even if I'm just going out to the grocery store. When I asked my dermatologist about vitamin D, she says that I should take a supplement. Now, I have read that vitamin D can help protect against cancer. Will this supplement, vitamin D, protect me against cancer too? Answer. Although sun exposure is linked to an increased risk of skin cancer, it is also associated with higher levels of vitamin D and a reduced risk of many other cancers. You can read about this in Anti-Cancer Agents in Medicinal Chemistry Journal, the January 2013 issue. Vitamin D deficiency increases the risk for certain cancers, but a review of studies on vitamin D supplements for preventing cancer was inconclusive. We are sending you our guide, which is called Guide to Vitamin D Deficiency, which describes how to find out about optimal vitamin D levels. This guide also discusses the pros and cons of sunshine and supplements to get the vitamin D that your body needs. Anyone else out there in Readerland or Radioland who would like a copy of this Guide to Vitamin D Deficiency may send $3 in a check or money order with a long number 10 stamped, which costs 71 cents, self-addressed envelope to Graydon's People's Pharmacy, number D-23, Post Office Box 52027, Durham, North Carolina 27717-2027. You may also download this guide to vitamin D deficiency on our website, which is www.peoplespharmacy.com. Question. I have weak bones, osteopenia. I could not tolerate Actonel, Fosamax, or Forteo. Instead, I worked with a physical therapist on exercises to strengthen my bones. Well, I did mild weightlifting exercises and resistance work with bands for 2 years. After the next test for osteopenia, I received a phone call that told me you have increased your bone density by 15% and it is now within normal limits. And I, of course, was flabbergasted. Joe, Teresa, I believe more people may want to try this approach instead of taking pills for their osteopenia or osteoporosis. Answer. The first choice of most doctors in treating osteoporosis often is a bisulfonate, such as alendronate, which is called Fosamax, ibandronate, which is called Boniva, or resendronate, which is Actonel. These drugs slow down bone breakdown so that the bone rebuilding cells can catch up. These drugs can also cause serious inflammation of the esophagus in some cases. And we are simply delighted to learn how well you have done with your exercise program. Others may benefit from your approach by consulting their physical therapist. Question. My dad died 5 years ago from a ruptured aortic aneurysm. It was just 6 weeks after being given intravenous Levaquin for pneumonia, which he was misdiagnosed with. At any rate, at the time, we did not connect Levaquin with any problems other than hallucinations. However, 4 years after his death, the researchers reported that fluoroquinolones can cause aortic aneurysms and dissections. There must be others who died from this, and their families will never know that it was from a drug they were given. And it saddens me that these drugs are still so commonly used, even after the Food and Drug Administration warned about the serious side effects of these antibiotics. Answer. A recent Swedish study found that fluoroquinolone antibiotics like ciprofloxacin or Cipro or levofloxacin, Levaquin, are associated with an increased risk of aortic aneurysms. In this condition, the large artery that leaves the heart, which is the aorta, develops a weak area that bulges and may burst, and this may be fatal, as in the case with your father. Researchers have previously linked FQ use with aortic aneurysms. Despite this, the FDA determined in 2017 that it did not see evidence of an association between FQs and bulges or tears in the aorta. Perhaps the new study will lead the FDA to reconsider this potentially deadly combination. The FDA does warn about disabling and potentially permanent side effects of the tendons, of the muscles, of the joints, of the nerves, and of the central nervous system. The agency suggests that FQs be reserved for patients who have no other treatment options. If you have a question pertaining to anything about pharmaceutical needs, you may visit Teresa and Joe Graydon's website at peoplespharmacy.com. And I can see that it is almost 10:30. That means it's time to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations, and we request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call that toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy,
and we are proud to serve you today. The time now is 11:31 in the morning, the 21st of June, 2018, the first day of summer.
all right, are you prepared? This will show you how to make your disaster kit for less. Lauren Schwam. This is from nerdwallet.com. Now, you know, it doesn't matter where you live in the United States. Everyone is subject to some type of a potential disaster, says Jim Judge, a member of the American Red Cross Scientific Advisory Council. Having a disaster kit handy can help you survive the potentially challenging days or weeks that follow. Do we have a disaster kit ready?
Do we? Yes, we have a disaster kit. We're ready.
All right, if the power's out, the grocery stores are closed, you're not going to be able to go to a pharmacy to get your medication. A disaster kit can be the difference between life and death. So how much does it cost? Well, cost may hold families back, and the Red Cross sells a pre-made basic 3-day kit for one person for $60. Multiply that by 3, one kit for your home, work, and vehicle, as advised by the Department of Homeland Security at ready.gov. Excuse me. Now, you can save money by making your own kit. Okay, this is what you need. Get your pencil. According to the Red Cross, your kit should include 1 gallon of water per person per day, enough to last 3 weeks during an evacuation or 2 weeks at home. At least 3 days worth of non-perishable food, or 2 weeks worth for the home. You got to have a flashlight, a battery-powered or hand-crank radio with NOAA weather radio. You've got to have batteries, folks. A first aid kit, 7-day supply of medications and other medical items, sanitation and personal hygiene items, a multi-purpose tool like pliers or a pocket knife, maps, local maps, a cell phone and a charger, cash, an emergency blanket, family and emergency contact information, and copies of your personal documents such as insurance policies, house deed, and passports. Consider extra items such as manual can opener, matches, and a change of clothing. Don't forget a durable, easy-to-carry bag or bin to hold everything. Judge also suggests customizing your kit for your individual, family, and pet needs. And you can go to redcross.org, redcross.org, for the full recommended supply list. Search your home. You might be more prepared than you think. Go room by room, checking shelves, drawers, and closets. Once you've identified the supplies you're missing, hang a list on the refrigerator. This can serve as a daily reminder to finish the job. Save a little at a time. Roll supply costs into your budget. If you don't have the means to complete it right now, tackle it little by little. You're not going to do it in one day. You don't want to go out and spend a boatload of money. But before long, you're prepared. You will be prepared. Focus on the essentials first. Water, food, medications, a first aid kit, and a radio. Then move down the list in the order you see fit. Now, recycle your water containers. Save empty containers or ask friends and neighbors for theirs. Wash the bottles thoroughly. Refill them with tap water. You can also sanitize them by rinsing with 1 teaspoon of unscented chlorine bleach and a quart of water. Replenish your water supply every 6 months. And shop sales. Dollar stores, thrift shops, and flea markets are good for cheap batteries, flashlights, battery-operated lanterns, AM/FM radios, and other goods. Test objects to make sure they work, especially if you buy used. Keep an eye out for grocery store coupons, markdowns, and buy one, get one free deals. Don't forget to use your community resources If you're in a desperate need, charitable organizations can come to your rescue. Turn to your local food bank, church, United Way, or Red Cross chapter for food and other necessities. Here you go.
That's an interesting little list they put out there. Now, I heard that you said that they recommend that you have 1 gallon of water a day
Yeah.
for 3 weeks.
No, it says
3 weeks, you need it to have a supply that will last you 3 weeks, is what I heard.
right.
Is that what it said? Well, that's, a gallon, that's 21 gallons of water. So for me and you, we need to have 42 gallons of water. And you want
1 gallon of water per person per day.
per person per day for 3 weeks. Is that what it says?
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize that if you have one for your car, what for your house, and what was the other place that you put it in? There's 3 locations they wanted that. You've got to collect, 120 some odd gallons
Yep.
of water. That's a lot of water.
It is.
Now, I wonder if that's a misprint.
I don't know.
What do you think?
Could be.
I'm thinking it might be. It's always good to have that battery, all those batteries, especially a battery-operated radio. But the one thing that we don't have and which we should get is one of those hand crank radios where you don't need batteries. All you do is charge up this internal battery with a hand crank, you see. But it's not like we live out in the boondocks.
And where would you get one?
They sell them online. I see them in magazines all the time. But that's a nice little list, but I don't know. I'd have to, just like they said, make your emergency kit as you see fit. And I'm also going to say this, one last comment about that. I read that you should never reuse empty water containers. You don't wash them, you throw them away. They're not made to be used that way. Have you read that?
I read that too, and you could never clean them.
You can't. It says not to. So here I am. We're hearing this or reading this from the Red Cross, and I'm just a teeny bit concerned. At any rate, I'd like to say that we have another little article in this paper about filters touted as the Gen X solution.
Oh, no.
Here's another one. Fran Minshew discusses a system that was placed on her property in the Grays Creek community to filter out the chemical Gen X from her well water. And the state officials say that permanent water supply needed for homes with contaminated wells. So that's the brain surgeons realize that you need a permanent water supply for your home, and especially if your well water is contaminated with Gen X. Now, this article was written by Steve Devane. He's been a very little busy bee writing all this stuff about Gen X, all this information, should I say. Chemours appears to be at odds with state regulators over how to best help residents whose wells are contaminated with Gen X near the company's Bladen County plant. Now, if you all remember out there that they said that there were 700 jobs in jeopardy if Chemours shuts down. Well, if Chemours shuts down, then all these people that are going to get help from Chemours will be out of luck. That's what it seems to me. Doesn't it seem that way to you, Nancy?
Yep.
Anyway, Chemours says granular activated carbon filtration systems have proven to be an effective way to remove the potentially carcinogenic Gen X and other similar compounds from water. These systems are expensive. They are about $5,000 to $10,000, not including the maintenance costs. But the company is prepared to offer them at no cost to nearby homes whose wells have high levels of the chemicals, while evaluating the possibility of running municipal water lines to that area. The State Department of Environmental Quality says it does not consider the filters to be a long-term final solution for the Gen X problem, except in areas where there is no safe alternative or where it is preferred by the homeowner. The department has told Chemours to develop a plan by the 30th of June to provide a permanent water supply to homes that have been contaminated with Gen X. 2 residents who have the filter systems installed at their homes say they are not ready to commit to keeping them permanently, but they say the early results are encouraging. Pardon me. Chemours makes Gen X at the Fayetteville Works plant. Compound also is a byproduct of other processes at the facility, which is just off North Carolina Highway 87 near the Cumberland County line. The health effects on humans is not known. It has been linked to several forms of cancer in animal studies. The Chemours officials say that more than 10 years of research shows that the levels of Gen X around the plant are not hazardous for humans. The State Department of Health and Human Services has established a provisional health goal for the compound, which is a threshold for levels considered to be safe. In all, there are about 1,000 private wells around the plant that had been tested. Gen X was detected in more than 760 of those wells, including 225 at levels above the state's provisional health goal. Brian Long, manager of the plant, said last week in a town hall meeting that was hosted by Chemours that the company is willing to provide the filtration systems to homes with wells above that health goal. We believe it's a good long-term solution, said Brian Long, and we will maintain those units for life. Now, he said life. I read that right. In fact, I'm going to underline that so I don't forget where it is. And that was said by Brian Long, the manager of the Chemours plant. Chemours is evaluating funding the installation of municipal water connections for impacted homes where it is feasible and cost effective, unless the homeowner prefers the GAC lifetime filter system, the statement said. The company's statement said that since some wells have been tested more than once, Chemours officials believe the number of homes served by wells that are above the health goal is about 165 homes. In response to a question about the wells that are found to have elevated levels of Gen X in the future, the company said Chemours is continuing its sampling program and will offer to install GAC units where it is appropriate. The filtration systems have been installed at 6 locations around the plant, according to Brian Long, the manager of the Chemours plant. Brian Long is expected to talk to local business leaders at a Greater Fayetteville Chamber evening event this morning. The preliminary results show no detection of Gen X and similar compounds after water goes through the filters, said Brian Long. Results from one location in the pilot study, posted on the Department of Environmental Quality's website, also show no detection of the chemical. Mike Waters, who lives about a mile from the plant, has one of those filter systems. He said the results from 3 of the locations provided by a law firm show no detection of Gen X and similar compounds. Mike Waters said the state has not provided him with results from his home. The lack of data is really concerning, said Mike Waters. Frank Minshew, who also has one of the systems, it's not Frank, it's Fran. Fran Minshew, who also has one of those systems, said she has not gotten test results either from the Chemours plant. State officials said Tuesday in response to questions about the filtration systems that results from all 6 wells in the pilot project are expected to be released this week. The department said state officials are following the science. There isn't enough data to make a final decision about the viability of granular activated carbon filtration systems on the successful removal of GenX from residential drinking water wells, it said. Cumberland County Commissioners voted in February of this year to spend $130,000 for a preliminary engineering report that will estimate the cost of running water lines to Grays Creek, which includes the area around the Chemours plant. County officials have said they prefer to work with the Fayetteville Public Works Commission on that project. Frank Minshew, who also has one of those systems, Fran Minshew, who also has one of those filtration systems, says she does not think the municipal water lines will be run to her home, which is at the end of a lengthy dirt road with only a few other homes in that area. She also said she is concerned about the presence of 1,4-dioxane, a probable carcinogen in the PWC water provided to the rest of the Fayetteville residents, which I'm concerned too, Nancy, because we get PWC water, but they always send out in their bills to us how to give us a warm and fuzzy feeling about how we don't have those problems. At least that's what it leads me to believe, in my humble opinion. And that is my opinion. Okay, yes, here's what she says. Fran Minshew said a skin condition that she has appears to have improved since the filtration system was installed in her home. If the filtration system is effective and Chemours maintains it for life, she might agree to keeping it for life. I don't trust them, she said. That's Fran Minshew. Waters, that's Mike Waters, who lives about a mile from the plant, said that given the choice, he would probably prefer the filtration system, and you know, they promised it for life. But others in that area don't share that preference. Most people I'm talking to want municipal water, said Mike Waters. Mike Waters said he's waiting to see if early indications hold up once the pilot project ends next month. That's July, ends July 2018. I'll champion it for them if I have the results, said Mike Waters. Mike Waters, who lives 1 mile from the plant, said Chemours should offer filtration systems or municipal water to all the homes with wells that have any amount of GenX. He said he is concerned about his neighbors who have levels of the compound below the health goal. I know these people by name, said Mike Waters, and I'm concerned for their health too. Now, ladies and gentlemen out there, if you have any questions about this article, the title of the article is Filters Touted as the GenX Solution, but it doesn't talk about 1,4-dioxane. But anyway, that's the title of this article, and if you would like to discuss this article at length with Steve Devane, the one that wrote this article, you may call him at this number, 910-486-3572. And I'm going to say that I believe about, I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly, but Nancy, wasn't it about 15 years ago that Grays Creek wanted to have PWC water? Remember that?
I do remember.
But they didn't want to pay for it because I think they were going to, PWC was going to charge a fee to install those lines, and everybody in that subdivision in Grays Creek would have to, you know, pony up for the money. Now they're getting it because of the pollution.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Terrible.
Yeah, I don't like it. All right, this is the Cheers and Jeers section of the paper, and I love this section. You have cheers to Carolina's dentist. So the Carolina Highlands Independent Living condominium residents would like to send a cheer to Dr. John Max Sands and his team at Carolina Dentist for coming to the Carolina Highlands and doing a seminar for all the residents on oral health care. We were so impressed with the amount of time Dr. Sands and his team spent answering each resident's questions. Thank you, great job. And that was written by Faith Hilliard from Fayetteville. Cheers to a postal worker. A resounding cheer for our regular postal service delivery person, Solomon Tennant. With a good cheer and consistent service, he is taking care of our Bordeaux neighborhood at the highest professional level. It's a pleasure to see him round the neighborhood as I walk my dog. He even holds out mail if the local postmaster forgets to give him our online hold request. Day after day, good weather and bad, he's doing his job with a nice word for everyone. I've heard he will be out for a while. Best wishes for a rapid recovery. Remember when we had a mailman at Berkshire Road and he walked and delivered our mail every day?
He did.
He did a great job.
He was probably the best mailman we ever had because you could count on him to be at your mailbox at exactly the same time every day.
Every day.
Except for Saturday. You know, Saturday was a little different.
Right.
But every single day he was right there. You know, you could almost set your watch by our mailman.
I know, he was awesome.
He was awesome.
Cheers to a county employee. Here's a well-deserved cheer for Karen Williams. Karen works for Cumberland County Solid Waste Management, and she supervises the McCauley Container Site on Research Drive. As I was trying to dispose of several containers of paint on April 10th, she told me I would need to pour dirt or cat litter into the cans. After picking up a bag of litter, thinking I'd have to do the messy work myself, she told me not to worry, she would handle it. This is just one example of the kindness with which she treats people who drop off their garbage and recyclables. Karen is always smiling and eager to engage you in conversation. She's an absolute pleasure. That was turned in by Brian Mims of Fayetteville. And the Cheers to a Postal Worker article was written by Ronald Katz of Fayetteville. Cheers to Charlie Spock. I am new in town and I didn't know where to go to receive a wax treatment. So I looked on Groupon and I found Charlie's Lovely Day Spa on Cumberland Road. It's called Charlie's Lovely Day Spa on Cumberland Road. I was pleasantly surprised by the warmth and talent of this young lady, the owner, Charlie. She is great. You are in good hands with her. I was so pleased, and she gives military, student, and senior discounts. Way to go serving our military families. Thank you. Angela Williams, Cumberland County. And a jeer. Here's a jeer to hospital collections. I had no luck getting a return call from a hospital clinic's collections department. I am sure I'm not the only one in Blaine County who has this problem. They don't call you back. I really value my credit. Come on, get it together. From Brenda Davis in Bladeboro. Now, listener, send us your cheer and jeers. Want to share praise for an individual or business, or vent about a bad experience? Submit yours to cheersandjeers@fayobserver.com or go to fayobserver.com facebook.com/opinion/jeers, where you can use an online form and read other submissions. Please remember to limit your item to 125 words. We publish cheers and jeers in the order we receive them. Do you have a question? Well, just call us at 910-486-3500.
There is a group to lead a joint homeless effort. This was written by Steve Devane. A collaboration between Fayetteville and Cumberland County to reduce homelessness took a key step this month. Endeavors, the organization that played an important role in reducing homelessness among veterans in the county, is now leading the joint effort with the city to help anyone who does not have a place to live. The initiative was envisioned when city and county leaders met to discuss the issue more than 3 years ago. The City Council and the County Board of Commissioners both made reducing homelessness a key goal. The county's per capita homeless rate has decreased from 2.0 to 1.1 homeless individuals per 1,000 county residents since the year 2014, according to a statement released by county officials. This year's point-in-time count estimated that there were 372 homeless people in the county during a 24-hour period in late January of 2018, the statement said. That estimate is 70 below the 2017 count. A committee that includes city and county representatives selected Endeavors, that's the organization that helps homeless people, which was formerly called Family Endeavors, to oversee the joint effort to reduce homelessness in Cumberland County. County commissioners awarded a 2-year contract to this organization last month to combat homelessness in Cumberland County. Now, Nancy and I, in May, went to San Francisco to visit her twin sister. Her twin sister said that San Francisco has a very bad homeless problem, very serious problem. And last year, in 2017, there were 7,500 people that were homeless in the city of San Francisco.
Wow.
Here in Cumberland County, we only had 372. And we saw many of the homeless people in San Francisco. I will have to say they were quite a bit more visible than what you see here in Cumberland County. I mean, we saw little encampments of them everywhere. So it's a big problem nationwide. But I would like to say right now that this concludes our reading of the Fayetteville Observer. Today, your radio hosts have been Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you every day that we read. For our radio listeners, we will now join the Raleigh Network for additional programs. Thank you guys and our YouTube listeners for tuning us in. We've enjoyed being with you today, and have a wonderful first day of summer.